Hey, welcome to a new video. Are you a fan of movies with monsters? Then you've clicked on the right video. From giant creatures threatening the world to mythical monsters living underground, there's been multiple films over the years that feature their own monsters, and we're not just talking about Godzilla or King Kong. Today we're gonna show you 20 giant film monsters. Are you new to this channel? Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And before we start, also like the video. Number 20. Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back features one of the most iconic scenes in film history, in which the Millennium Falcon is chased by the EXOGORTH monster, also known as the Space Slug. The EXOGORTH monster is a silicone-based life form that lives within asteroids and maintains a complete ecosystem within its body. These creatures reach maturity at 10 meters and reproduce by splitting into two smaller, separate bodies. If an EXOGORTH monster is unable to do so, its growth continues uninterrupted and can reach lengths of 900 meters. Creatures of this size are capable of swallowing entire starships and housing entire ecosystems. The EXOGORTH monster lives in asteroid fields and buries itself within an asteroid until fully concealed. There it feeds on stellar energy emissions, mineral-rich deposits of the asteroid, drifting space debris, and presumably other silicon-based life forms, such as Minox. The EXOGORTH monster plays a significant role in the Star Wars films, and is one of the most iconic creatures in the franchise. Are you a fan of Star Wars? Let me know in the comments. Number 19. COLOSSAL is a 2016 science fiction film, directed and written by Nacho Vigilando. The film follows Gloria, an unemployed writer struggling with alcoholism, and a controlling colleague. When Gloria walks through a local park in Seoul at 8 a.m., a giant monster appears, and she discovers that she can control the monster. A cool aspect of the monster is that it's a semi-humanoid reptilian creature with thick, scaly, brown skin and a beige underbelly. It has a short, stubby tail, elephantine feet, and human-like hands. The face vaguely resembles that of a frog, and has brownish human-like eyes and a mouth full of sharp teeth. The power of the monster is unmatched due to its enormous size and weight, meaning it has immense physical strength and power. The monster is also physically linked to Gloria, mimicking her movements precisely and sharing her pain. Number 18. Kong Film Saga is one of the longest-running film franchises in the history of Hollywood, which began with the original King Kong film in 1993. This film quickly became a cult classic, and since then, many Kong films and remakes have been made, including the recent reboot Kong: Skull Island from 2017. One of the most spectacular scenes from this film is the fight between Kong and the giant squid. This fight showcases Kong's strength and leadership, and is one of the highlights of the film. What many people don't know about Kong is that his character is based on real animals. The gorilla on which Kong is based is an endangered species that is often hunted for its meat. The filmmakers wanted to portray Kong as an intelligent and empathetic creature that protects himself and his ecosystem against humans and other threats. Kong is not just a monster, but a symbol of nature and the vulnerability of our planet. This message is emphasized time and time again in the Kong films, and it's a major reason why these films are still popular with audiences. Additionally, the Kong films are also known for their impressive special effects and epic battle scenes that keep every viewer on the edge of their seat. Number 17. The Cloverfield monster is the central element of the eponymous film from 2008. The monster, which looks like a cross between an ape, an insect, and a dragon, is enormous and causes chaos and destruction in the city of Manhattan. The monster is over 100 meters long and is covered in scales and tentacles. It's capable of toppling buildings and destroying soldiers of the United States Army. The monster is accompanied by smaller parasitic creatures that fall off its body and also pose a threat to the survivors in the city. The Cloverfield monster is only shown to a limited extent in the film. Most of the time, the consequences of its presence are shown, such as collapsed buildings, burning vehicles, and panic among the survivors. This adds to the tension of the film because the viewer wonders what exactly the monster is and what it can do. The monster is said to be the result of an experiment gone wrong. The fact that it's not explained exactly what kind of monster it is makes it even more terrifying and reinforces the mysterious atmosphere of the film. Number 16. The 2020 film adaptation of the famous science fiction novel by Frank Herbert Dune centers around the planet Arrakis. The planet is inhabited by enormous worm-like creatures called sandworms, which produce the key resource for interstellar travel called spice or melange. Harvesting the spice is a dangerous undertaking because the sandworms are aggressive and territorial. The use of the spice is so important that it has sparked a struggle for control over its production and distribution, which forms the basis of the plot of the Dune saga. In the 2021 film adaptation, the sandworms are brought to life with visual effects and are given more depth and mystery than ever before. Their enormous size and powerful presence on the screen are breathtaking, and the way they move through the sand seas of Arrakis leaves viewers wondering what else there is to discover on this mysterious planet. Number 15. Conquering the Demons is a Chinese fantasy film from 2013 that tells the story of Tang Sanzang before he meets his legendary disciples and begins his journey to the west. In the film, Sanzang is confronted with a mysterious water creature that terrorizes a village. A Taoist priest claims to have killed the demon by killing a giant manta ray. However, Sanzang knows that this is not the real demon and tries to warn the villagers. Unfortunately, they do not listen and decide to hang him. When the real demon returns and kills many villagers, Sanzang is able to transform the creature into a human through a book of nursery rhymes. The film also features other supernatural creatures, such as a pig demon who runs a restaurant and a giant wild boar that destroys a building. Sanzang and his fellow hunter Duan fall in love with each other, but their love is not reciprocated. Eventually, Sanzang is called upon to tame the monkey demon, Sun Wukong, and subdue the pig demon. The film is full of action, humor, and romance, and offers a unique take on the legend of Tang Sanzang. Number 14. The SLATTERN monster from the 2013 film Pacific Rim is a gigantic creature and the leader of the kaiju, a race of extraterrestrial monsters that have their sights set on Earth. SLATTERN is the largest and most powerful of all the kaiju. With a reptilian body, 4 arms, and a giant horn on its head, it has armor made of tough scales and can fire off a nuclear radiation. This monster is not to be underestimated and is a formidable opponent for the Jaeger robots, which are specially built to combat the kaiju. In the film Pacific Rim, SLATTERN goes head-to-head with Gypsy Danger, one of the Jaegers piloted by Raleigh Beckett and Mako Mori. The epic showdown between these two giants is spectacular and provides an adrenaline rush that you won't soon forget. The creators of Pacific Rim have crafted a believable and convincing monster with SLATTERN, and the combination of CGI makes it feel like it actually exists. Number 13. If you're looking for a movie full of action and destructive monsters, then Godzilla vs. Kong is the perfect film for you. The 2021 film director, Adam Wingard, pits 2 giants against each other, Godzilla and King Kong. After the events of the previous films, the world is filled with large monsters that were awakened by King Ghidorah. King Kong lives under Monarch's care in a huge dome on Skull Island. The story begins when Godzilla suddenly attacks Apex Cybernetics, and Bernie Hayes, an Apex employee, discovers information about the company's plans. The company recruits Nathan Lind, a Hollow Earth theorist, to guide them in the search for a power source in the Hollow Earth. Kong is the guide through this unknown world, but when they resurface, it leads to a fierce confrontation between the 2 monsters. In this film, the fights between the monsters are more spectacular than ever. It's like a giant game of chess, with both the monsters putting everything on the line to defeat the other. It's difficult to predict who the ultimate winner will be, as both monsters are equally strong and determined to triumph. It's clear that the creators went all out to entertain the viewers, as the visual effects are fantastic and the fights are breathtaking. Number 12. If you think you know everything about creatures in the fantasy world, you probably haven't heard of the Balrog. These demonic monsters from J.R.R. Tolkien's world are terrifying and impressive. In the Lord of the Rings trilogy, they are best known for the battle between the Wizard of Gandalf and the Balrog in Moria. The Balrog was no ordinary monster. It was a being of immense power and destruction. With flaming manes and fire-breathing nostrils, it resembled a giant human, but with twisting serpents as limbs. Its main weapon was a whip with many lashes, and it also had a mace, axe, and flaming sword within its arsenal. It was a formidable opponent, even for the most experienced of warriors. The battle between Gandalf and the Balrog is one of the most epic moments in the trilogy. The scene in which Gandalf fights the Balrog and ultimately falls with him into the depths is unforgettable. It shows how powerful and dangerous these creatures are, and how much strength is needed to defeat them. The Balrog is just one of the many fantastic creatures that Tolkien has created, making the Lord of the Rings world so fascinating. It's a world full of magic and adventure, where the struggle between good and evil is central, and where each creature plays its own role. Number 11. The Indominus Rex is the ultimate hybrid dinosaur and the nightmare of Jurassic World. This dinosaur is not only made from the genes of the strongest and most terrifying theropods, but also has traits of modern animals like squids and tree frogs. But did you know that the creation of the Indominus Rex was not without consequences? In the film Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, we learn that the hybrid dinosaur was the cause of the extinction of all dinosaurs on Isla Nublar Island. This led to a rescue mission to evacuate the dinosaurs to a new island before a volcano eruption destroyed everything. But what they didn't know was that there was still an Indominus Rex left on the island. This development created tension and excitement in the film, and had us on the edge of our seats as the characters tried to escape from the dangerous dinosaur. It proves that the Jurassic Park franchise is not just about showing spectacular dinosaur action, but also about telling an exciting and engaging story. The Indominus Rex is an impressive and terrifying opponent, and an important part of the franchise. Its creation shows what's possible with genetic manipulation, but also what dangers it can bring. The Jurassic Park films continue to surprise us with their imagination and show us what the world would be like if dinosaurs still roamed. Number 10. Snakes have always had a bit of a bad reputation. They are seen as dangerous creatures that you better stay away from. But what if I told you that there's a movie where a snake of a whopping 152 meters steals the show? Snake 2 is a Chinese film based on the Chinese folklore legend of the white snake. In the film, a pleasure cruise in search of dolphins turns into a nightmare when the boat sinks and the survivors end up on an island inhabited by monsters from an abandoned laboratory project. The film features not only the giant snake and her babies, but also a school of large flying piranhas and a huge mushroom with acid blood and a projectile tongue that can tear the flesh off of your bones. The interesting thing about Snake 2 and similar films is that they are often so bad that they become good. It's pure entertainment and the perfect movie for a night out with friends. Number 9. The monster GWOEMUL from the South Korean film The Host is not just any monster. The large amphibious creature was born from an unknown organism that mutated due to the pollution in the Han River. The result is an extremely aggressive and dangerous creature that feeds on people and takes them to its underground lair in the sewers. However, the monster is afraid of fire and ultimately dies from being burned. But what's even more intriguing is the monster's feeding pattern. Despite having a jaw with multiple rows of sharp teeth, it seems that it can only ingest food whole. We see the monster grabbing a woman by the head during an early attack and dragging her away to eat later. We also see the monster with a huge pile of bones in its lair, suggesting that it can survive for a long period without food, similar to the way reptiles do. But what is truly fascinating is that its bizarre habit of drinking any kind of liquid that splashes on it, regardless of what it is. Even if the liquid is poisonous or flammable, the monster will still drink it. This raises the question of whether GWOEMUL has any intelligence at all. It seems that the creature doesn't realize that the liquid is poisonous and clearly doesn't take into account that it doesn't taste like water. The film was a hit in South Korea, breaking multiple box office records. It was also well received in other countries and won several awards, including Best Film at the Asian Film Awards and the Blue Dragon Film Awards. Number 8. In the 2019 film Howl from Beyond the Fog, a gigantic kaiju monster named Nebula takes center stage. The film is inspired by the short story The Foghorn by Ray Bradbury, which also served as the basis for the film The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. The Nebula monster lives in a lake and is blind, just like his friend Takiri. Nebula is not a violent monster, but becomes angry when threatened. The story takes place in Japan during the Meiji period, and follows young Eiji as he returns to his hometown after the death of his twin brother. Here he meets his blind cousin Takiri, and her gigantic friend Nebula. But the story is not just about Nebula and his friends. Eiji's family is threatened by developers who want to take their land for the construction of a dam. The plot lines intersect when Nebula becomes angry and goes on a rampage. Number 7. Godzilla, the King of the Monsters, returns in the 2019 film Godzilla, King of the Monsters, where he faces his most formidable opponent yet, King Ghidorah. But don't let the serious storyline fool ya. There's plenty of monstrous action and destruction to satisfy any kaiju fan. The film boasts a talented cast of actors, including Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things, and impressive special effects that bring the gigantic creatures to life in stunning detail. One of the standout monsters is King Ghidorah, a dragon-like creature with 3 heads that proves to be as powerful as Godzilla. What's interesting about the film is that people struggle to control and understand the immense titans, but ultimately realize that these creatures play an important role in maintaining the ecological balance of the Earth. Number 6. In the 2018 film Rampage, the monster LIZZIE takes center stage, an enormous crocodile that grows to giant proportions after exposure to a serum. LIZZIE is considerably larger than the other 2 animals affected by the serum, the albino gorilla, George, and the mutated gray wolf, Ralph. With her excessive strength, speed, and agility, LIZZIE is able to lift military vehicles and destroy buildings. Her enormous jaws are capable of crushing helicopters and crushing enemies. But LIZZIE is not just strong, she also has spikes on her tail, sharp teeth, and tusks, and can climb thanks to her sticky feet. In the water, LIZZIE moves at lightning speed, and on land, she's capable of grabbing fighter jets out of the air. Her gills also allow her to stay underwater and breathe without having to take a breath. LIZZIE and her other mutated animals are the result of human experimentation, and their escape leads to chaos and destruction. Number 5. Love and Monsters from 2021 is a monster movie that gives a unique twist to the genre. Instead of a traditional monster hunt, we follow the story of Joel Dawson, who 7 years after the apocalypse, where the world is overrun with monstrous beasts, sets out to find his ex-girlfriend Amy. Along the way, he meets a variety of strange creatures, including the giant and terrifying Queen Sand Gobbler. The Queen Sand Gobbler is an enormous worm-like creation with a fleshy, folded mouth that is almost as large as itself. Although this monstrous worm is one of the many dangers that Joel and his companions encounter during their journey, it's undoubtedly also one of the most memorable. The special effects make the monster look real, and the moment when he fights against the creature is quite intense. Number 4. In the 2012 film The Avengers, the heroes of the Marvel Universe come together to save the world from an alien invasion, led by none other than the CHITAURI Leviathan. This monster is a gigantic spaceship in the form of a dangerous flying slug, and has enough destruction power to destroy entire cities. It's not just its appearance that's impressive, but also its weapons. The Leviathan has a series of energy cannons that destroy everything they hit. Fortunately, the Avengers and their allies, including Iron Man and the Hulk, also have the necessary technology and superpowers to be able to stop the threat. What's interesting about the Leviathan is its origin. The CHITAURI are an alien race that appears in the Marvel comics, and they have a long history with the Avengers and other superheroes. In the film version, the CHITAURI are led by the evil god Loki, who brings an army of these creatures to Earth to conquer it. Number 3. This film will truly give you the creeps. Underwater from 2020 is a horror movie with a terrifying monster named the Cthulhu creature. The monster is based on the character Cthulhu from the stories of H.P. Lovecraft, and it's a horrifying creature with tentacles and a massive body. In the movie, Kristen Stewart plays the role of a survivor in an underwater research facility. After an earthquake, she and her colleagues must fight for their lives against the monster that roams the ocean in search of prey. What's interesting about the film is that the production team ensured that the monster looks as terrifying as possible. Heavy makeup and special effects were used to make the monster look more realistic. Even though this film may have you think twice about swimming in the ocean, it's definitely a movie to watch if you're a fan of horror. Number 2. Shin Godzilla is a 2016 film and the 31st Godzilla movie produced by the Japanese film studio Toho. This time, Godzilla has a completely new look, with a slim, eerie appearance that has shocked fans around the world. What makes Shin Godzilla so interesting is that the idea that the monster is still evolving. Throughout the movie, he undergoes various transformations and adaptations, making him an even greater threat to humanity. This creature creates a terrifying atmosphere and keeps the viewers on edge, never knowing what'll happen next. The monster itself is a true achievement in its special effects. From the scales on its body to its enormous tail, everything is designed to be as realistic as possible, and to induce fear in the viewer. The way he moves and the depiction of his devastating power is simply impressive. Number 1. In the movie Godzilla, the Planet Eater from 2018, Godzilla faces its most terrifying opponent yet, Void Ghidorah. This monster is no ordinary Ghidorah, but a creature capable of manipulating reality and time. Void Ghidorah appears as a gigantic black and purple dragon-like monster with 3 heads. His tentacle-like wings can serve as weapons, and he has the ability to shoot laser beams from his mouth. What makes the movie interesting is that the story takes place in a future where humanity has left Earth and now lives on other planets. When they return to Earth, they find that Godzilla has taken over the planet and has evolved into an even more powerful creature than before. This forces humanity to work together with an alien race called the EXOGORTH to help them summon Void Ghidorah to defeat Godzilla. What is your favorite film and monster? Let us know in the comments. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos we've made, click one on the screen or take a look at the channel. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.